What is your exit strategy? What plan do you have to exit the rat race? Is your plan to work for the rest of your life and retire at the age where the government feels you are no longer useful to them? Is that your plan? And if it is, which absolutely nothing wrong with it, if that is your plan, my question to you is, when do you start living life? And is that pension going to be enough for you to start living life? Or are you at the age of 60, 65 going to be surviving just as you survived for all the years before? So my question to you is, what is your why? Why do you wake up every day and go to work? Are you working just to put food on the table? Are you working just to sustain yourself or to pay bills? Because if that is the case, then I can guarantee you one thing. Your family and everyone that depends on you will be disappointed. I promise you one thing, you will die poor. I have personally decided to be the one who changes the trajectory of my family. I have decided to be the one who says I will suffer so that the generation that follows me does not suffer. I have decided to sacrifice myself so that my children will not struggle the way I did in life. Because in every rich family, there was that one guy who said, I will suffer so that everyone else doesn't have to. I will sacrifice myself so that everyone else doesn't have to. Now, by sacrificing myself or by suffering so that my children don't have to suffer, it does not necessarily mean that I will hand them everything on a silver platter. It means that I will be that guy, or I am that guy who says, I will suffer so they don't have to. I will make the sacrifices that are necessary to change the trajectory for my whole family, to change the generational status of our financial well-being for the ones who follow after me. I will be the one who has the sleepless nights. I will be the one who goes without food for days. I will be the one who remains single so that I can push, so that I can work, so that I can sacrifice my energy, my time, my pleasure, so that they can get to benefit. In every rich family, there was that one guy who said, I am going to be that guy. My question to you is, in your family, who's that guy? Or are your children going to have to be those guys because you were not strong enough, because you were not disciplined enough? If it's not you, then who? And are you willing to live with the guilt of knowing that you failed, that you couldn't do it, that you cared more about pleasure, that you cared more about yourself than you did them? Do your children have to be the ones because you were too weak to be the one? I want you to think about this, and I want you to think about this carefully. Because I believe that most of us here are after pleasure to the demise of our own families, to the demise of our whole generations. And we are willing to live with the fact that we could not stand up and say, I will sacrifice myself. I will be that guy. If that is so, then accept the fact that you are weak. And I hope you know the saying, weak men create tough times. Tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. And then easy times are most likely to create weak men. It's a non-ending vicious cycle. I have decided to be that guy who creates a system so that my family doesn't have to figure out how to create systems. And what I have done is I have written everything published it in my books to give my bloodline the most valuable thing I can give them in this life. Because the reality is that the formula has not changed since the beginning of time. One has to decide what they want. They have to be willing to sacrifice pleasure, time, money, resources in order to get what they want. And they must decide on a time frame. And then they must learn the seasons, understanding that if I plant now, I will reap later. Understanding that the type of fruit I hope to reap is connected to the season I need to plant in. And being courageous enough to be the black sheep of the family. And to be courageous enough to walk away from everything and everyone and to not conform to the patterns of this world. I believe that employment is one of humanity's biggest enemies. And most of us are dependent on someone else to pay our bills. It could be the government, it could be the company you are working for. But realize that the director of that company is a human being just like you, who decided to not be a statistic, who decided to change the trajectory for his family. And I'm saying, we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to be honest with the fact that we are too weak to make those decisions. We are too weak to make those commitments, those sacrifices. We would rather let our children be the ones. So my brothers and sisters, this video will hopefully inspire you to make a decision to get up and change your life, to get up and change the direction and the destiny of your children and those who follow after you. Be the one who makes the necessary sacrifices so that your children won't have to. Be the one who gives up any and everything so that your children won't have to. But don't hand them everything on a silver platter. Teach them systems that will help them. Many philanthropists have this ideology that when they die, they're not going to leave all their money to their children. Because if they need to leave all their money to their children so that their children can sustain their lives, then that means that they failed as parents. But if they've done a good job, they can actually afford to give about 90% of the money away to charities to help others, because they've done enough as parents to equip their children so that their children can build any and everything from scratch. So the reason why I'm an author is so that I can equip the generation that follows after me with the steps and strategies of how to do it. Because like I said, the system has never changed. The formula has remained the same from the beginning of time up until this moment, and it probably will never change. In order to predict the future, you need to study the past. But don't dwell too much on the past. My name is Bongani. I am a spiritual author, coach, and speaker, and I help believers and Christians with biblical solutions for life purpose, relationships, finances, business, and spirituality. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. May God bless you. I'll see you in the next video.